Hi, it's the lipstick gal. I am so excited. I did something. I don't know that I should have done it, but I did it anyway. I picked up all four of the brand new Viseart Petits Fours palettes. Okay, I'm gonna try them all on today. I'm going to show you what they look like on the eyes. And I'm just gonna sit here and be like super excited and super happy. They are new for holiday, and these are inspired by the 1920s jazz kind of movement in the United States and in Paris. So these are really fun, beautiful, jewel-toned quads. Let me show them to you. This was the one I was the most excited for. I have really been loving kind of burgundy tones, warmer tones, but it has a beautiful quad of colors. This is Garnet. I was also super excited about this one. This one is called Peridot. I think the greens in here are going to be lovely, and I think depending on how you place them, they could be more intense or just kind of a hint or a whisper of color. This is the one that I probably was the most intimidated by because I don't wear a lot of blue eyeshadow, but I love the Viseart formula. This is the quad in Lapis. And the last one I picked up is the one in Bullion. I love golden eyes. I am curious to see what this black looks like, but I can't wait. I think I'm gonna start with a Garnet. This is the one that I was most excited about, and I think I wanna start here. So I am just going to start with this kind of shimmery brown. I love the quality of, oh my goodness, look at that. Okay, I love the quality of Viseart palettes, and I really love how condensed the Petits Fours palettes are. I feel like it's exactly what my overwhelmed, too much makeup heart has been desiring. Just the few things. I remember when I first started wearing makeup, I had a quad of shadows. They were all individual singles from Clinique, but I was so happy to only have 4 shades. And for a long time, I had, maybe 4 or 6 total eyeshadows, and that did me just perfect. And then when I got into palettes, when, palettes came out like the Urban Decay Naked palette and the Too Faced Chocolate Bar, it kind of changed the way I started purchasing makeup. But I am super happy to be back to kind of like a minimal color story. I could see this shade easily being a one shadow look for me. I love it so much, but we're gonna use all 4 today. I am excited to try this kind of burgundy garnet shade here. I'm gonna pick up that next on a more detailed brush and just place it in the outer corner. Boy, the pigmentation on this is absolutely stunning. This palette only has 1 matte in there, and it is kind of like a matte cream shade. That doesn't bother me. I don't mind having more metallics. I know that that is not for everybody though. So just so you know, this Garnet palette only has 1 matte, but the rest of these shades are glorious. Oh, they're so pretty. Before I get going too far, I'm going to use this cream shade very lightly right underneath the arch of the brow, kind of blend it in to this shade so it doesn't get going too high. I'm going to pick up a little bit of that cream shade on a more pinpointed brush, and I'm going to use it right here in the inner corner. It is very similar to my skin tone. I'm dying to use this copper shade, so I'm going to pick up a little bit of that on my finger, and let's just bring that on the inner third of the lid. I think this is a really gorgeous look. I feel like it would definitely be well served with some liquid liner and some really intense fluffy mascara, but because I'm going to be doing 3 more looks with 3 different palettes, I decided to just put on the tubing mascara from M Cosmetics. It'll make it easy off for me so I can go and take this off and try the next palette on. But I think it's really pretty and the color story is gorgeous. Before we get too far, let's swatch these bad boys. Like I mentioned, this nude shade right here is almost exactly my skin tone, but here's the palette for you. They're super reflective. The next one I want to try is the one called Bullion. I am going to try something I normally don't do, and that's to put this black shade everywhere and then put like a gold over the top. I'm so curious whether this is going to turn out good or whether it's going to be a disaster. Let's play and find out. I want to pick up the smallest amount possible and just start by, very little, and just start by wiping it over the bulk of the lid. Maybe I need a smaller brush. I'm going to reach for a smaller brush. That might be wise. My goal isn't really to get like a really heavy coverage of black, just something that's going to make the gold look a little darker, a little more intense. Wow, this blends so beautifully. I normally am really fearful of blacks, of dark shades in general, but let's build a little bit out here on the outside edge just for fun, and then we'll swipe some of these golds wherever we want. I don't want to take it too high because the only matte in here is the one I'm using right now. Oh, it's getting a little dark, but we're gonna put something else over the top. Do you ever panic when you're doing your makeup? I'm in panic mode right now. I'm just gonna take a little tiny dry sponge and see if I can get some of this stuff that got blended a little too low here. Just wipe it up, and then also hit the inside corner here because this is not where I intended this black to go. I don't know how this is gonna work out, but we're just playing right now. I'm gonna use this darkest gold here. It's more kind of like a really bright honey gold right over the outside corner. Ooh, that's pretty. I wonder if it would be a little bit more intense if I, oh, hello. At this point, I'm going to use this over the bulk of my lid and the lightest color on the inside corner. I'm just going to use my finger because I love the way these look. Oh my goodness. How beautiful is that? Here goes that lightest shade. Wow. I'm taking my time to really diffuse out this black I put on my lower lash line. I used a pencil brush to place it down here, but the difference between this unblended and this blended, I think, makes a huge difference. I couldn't help myself. I needed more mascara, more liner for this black kind of in gold eyeshadow look, so I threw on some of the Urban Decay 24/7 Waterline, and then I threw on the Lash Princess Curl and Volume Mascara, and I feel like this is really making me happy. I really love the way this looks. Okay, so I normally don't wear like dark smoky eyes, but this Bullion palette, oh, she's beautiful. Let's do some swatches. Look at these colors. What is going on? Ah! And I still have so much pigment left here. What's interesting is this black actually looks like it has a little bit of a satiny glow to it. I don't know if that's just me. Are you seeing a satin there? Or am I making that up? I don't know. But there is so much pigment here. I had to be really careful with the black. If you like a really dark vampy eye, you could definitely pack this on. You can get it to be completely opaque. Yeah, you can get it really dark. It's not a problem. I just tend to be really conservative with dark colors, and I'm like 100% intimidated by black, but I love the way this turned out. I wasn't really sure if I wanted to pick up this one in the shade Lapis because it has this really brilliant blue. And just like black, it's a shade that's intimidating to me a lot of the times because I don't know what to do with colors this bright. But I think like the last time, I'm just gonna go for it and see what we come up with. And out of like extreme caution and safety, I am gonna start with this kind of bone shade right here. And I'm going to throw this all over the lid. I wanna throw this in the crease. This is a absolutely gorgeous kind of bronzy, soft, almost like a, I don't know, how would you describe this? It's not really dark, and I'm sure I could get a much deeper wash. I'm using a really soft, fluffy brush. It's really big and splayed out because I want something that's basically a light wash. I don't want like a ton going on here. It's kind of going on like a highlight brush, and I like that. But I'm sure it packs a punch if you use a more compact brush or you just swipe it on with your finger. But I like this kind of soft, diffused sparkle that I'm getting here. All right, I'm gonna dip into that blue. All right, we're doing it. I don't think I want to take this too dark. I like how it's kind of a light, soft blue. I'm going to kind of keep it soft and diffused. I want to pick this icy blue up with a finger and just place it all over the lid and kind of blend it out. I'm going back to that kind of fluffy brush I was using to place down that light golden shade, and I kind of want to just diffuse this. I feel like it really packed a punch when I swiped it on with my finger, but I like the idea of it being a little bit lighter weight, almost like an ethereal gossamer veil of a light sparkle. I'm trying to really diffuse out this blue that I put down here in my lower lash line. I want it to kind of be a hint and kind of a whisper of blue and not a really intense line of blue. So I'm going to give myself some time just to blend this in the way I want it. And really make sure I fluff out that light blue here in the inner corner so it's really blown out and very much everywhere. I wasn't sure I was gonna like this, and I was sure that this blue here was gonna be like way too intense. And I know if you really wanted to, you could definitely build it up, because look at that. You can get serious pigment out of this. But I like that it goes on really soft. I really love the way that this turned into more of a pastel watercolor look. I really didn't expect it to be kind of like this light and bright. These are what the swatches look like. I mean, the metallics are insane. And yes, right here, this is definitely the matte that I put down first, and it is almost exactly my skin color. Out of curiosity, I know there's one like that in the Garnet palette. The names are different, but let's see what they look like. I feel like the one in the blue palette is just a hair warmer, but they're so similar because I have the one from the Garnet palette swatched right here. I know you really can't see it. And then this is the one from the Lapis palette. They're both very, very similar to my skin tone, like incredibly similar to my skin tone. This is the type of blue look that's inside my comfort zone. The last one to play with is the Peridot palette. I was instantly drawn to this. I have loved green eyeshadow since I got the Sydney Grace Mountain Trail bundle 2 years ago. And when I saw this, I was like, yes! And my goal was to pick up this one and the first one I tried, that Garnet palette. But so far, I've been enjoying every single one of these. I'm gonna start with the matte in here, and it looks kind of like a camely matte shade. I'm gonna put that in the crease of my eye. This shade on its own is absolutely gorgeous. Oh, I love this shade. I'm also gonna take this on a slightly smaller brush and just kind of run it on the lower lash line. This shade is just like tugging at all my heartstrings. I could see this being like a one shadow look for me. It's so pretty. I'm gonna go into this olive green shade here, and I am gonna use that right out here to give myself a little depth and dimension. I don't want it too heavy. So I'm down to these two greens here. I'm trying to figure out, let's just swatch them and see what they look like. Oh, these are pretty. I kind of don't know where to put these. What? Oh, I love this. I normally don't just plop a dark color on the bulk of my lid, but I love the way it looks with this green. I think I'm gonna need just a little bit more here. And I'm just lightly tapping here. And then just a little bit of this. These work like watercolors. When I finished putting on all the eyeshadow, I was like, you know what? This look needs eyeliner. This look needs the big, crazy, fluffy mascara. So I threw on more of that black liner from Urban Decay, and I threw on my favorite mascara, the one from Lancome and the Mr. Big. And I'm in love. Absolutely stunning. Let's swatch these bad boys. Aren't these swatches beautiful? I could live in this camel shade, and I feel like the camel and that kind of khaki metallic olivey green shade together as a two shadow look, amazing. But then you add in these more like reflective metallic, like really bright and colorful greens, and it takes it to a completely different level. I normally don't wear an eye look like this. This is definitely outside of my everyday wear. But it's not outside of my comfort zone, because looking at this, I'm like, I want to do this again. This is fantastic. What else can this palette do? And I'm sure I could get this to do a lot of different looks. If I wanted to use it kind of like green eyeliner and keep the shades closer to the lash line and not take it, you know, as far up, I think that'd be fantastic. It might be fun to skip kind of more of that emerald green and play with this guy here and these two. I think there's a lot of really fun possibilities here. I think this is a really, really stunning eyeshadow palette. I'm super excited, and I like the way this turned out. Oh, so much. I did throw on some bronzer. I did, you know, give myself a little bit more of a metallic highlighty sheen. So I'm living in some glowy bronzer and some highlight to go along with this, and kind of a glossy nude lip, because the eyes are so much of a statement. If you're curious, each one of these palettes retails for $25. I don't know if that means that the price of all of the Petits Fours is going to increase, because last year when they came out with these little quads, they were $22. But the packaging on these guys is exactly the same as you get on the original Petits Fours. It has this little ribbon pull here. There's no mirror on the inside. Packaging is the same. I like that. The other thing that I love about these is that the pans are removable. They're just little magnetic pans that fit right into this palette. And the reason they do that is so that you have the ability to, you know what, I want this shade, I want that shade, I want the other shade. The eyeshadow pans are the same size as these guys. So if there are shades in a different palette you want, you can take them out, you can rearrange them. That makes my heart happy. I feel like the original two that I picked up from the Petits Fours release in 2020 are more of my everyday colors, a cool tone and a warm tone, because I have the Lilas palette and I have the Praline. And I feel like these are definitely bolder quads, and they definitely evoke a mood. There's a vibe to these eyeshadows. There are to the other ones too, but the other ones feel more like everyday comfortable shades. Even the ones that I don't have. I don't have the chocolate, I don't have the framboise, and I feel like those, you know, one's kind of pinky, one's kind of, you know, warm and chocolatey. And these guys here, you're creating an entire mood on your face by putting these colors on. I am normally not a bright eyeshadow sort of person, but these really delight me. I feel like these are endlessly usable, and since I normally don't wear blues, I love that they have like a really warm tone in here. I love that they have one that's very close to my skin tone, and it works for me. I feel like this light silvery blue is just so beautiful, just like all over the lid in a light wash. Like, it doesn't have to be really blingy and really heavy, just like a super light wash. It gives me a lot of inspiration. What else could I do with this? This kind of gives me like Snow Queen vibes, mermaid vibes. It takes me to a fantasy place. I love that. I feel like this palette here is going to be the one that is going to probably stretch me the most, mainly because it has a black. And when you only have 4 eyeshadows in a palette, you really want to use them all. And I don't want to use this black just as liner, just as kind of like a little intense outer corner, because that would be the easy way out. I really want to go for it because this really inspires me, but it also makes me worried, because I'm the sort of person, I'd be like, okay, let's get a big brush, big fluffy brush, let's start blending, 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 and I would end up with that black like all the way down here, all the way up to my eyebrow, out all the way here, and then even lower than I would really want it. And there'd be a lot of cleanup involved. So probably next time I use this, I'll do my eyes first and get the black placed exactly where I want it. And then I will put on the rest of my face, because I like this palette a lot. That black still gives me kind of momentary pause. I think the hardest thing for me is, as I get older, I'm noticing there's a change, not just in the texture of my under eye, but especially the texture on my eyelids. And what I like about the formula that you get here, even with the metallics, because sometimes the metallic can just do you dirty. If you know what I'm talking about, you put it on and all of a sudden all you see is the texture on your lids. It just brings it right to the forefront. I don't feel like I got that with any of these. And I feel like I have to be a little bit more careful in the types of formulas I'm choosing, especially if they're shimmery, especially if they're sparkly, if they're metallic, that I put on my lids, because not everything makes me look my best, because I don't have the eyelids of a 20-year-old. And that's okay. I don't want to be what I'm not. I just want to be able to have fun playing with something that actually makes me feel beautiful and doesn't enhance any of the textural differences I have been noticing in my eyelids in the last couple of years. I think these are great. I feel like the formula works really, really well. And I didn't wear any eyeshadow primer today. So imagine you probably would get even a little bit more bold pigmentation if you were to put down an eyeshadow primer. I just usually can't be bothered with primer, so I skip it, but I feel like these are so much fun, especially for the holidays. I love that they're inspired by the Roaring 20s, by the Jazz Age in the US and in France during that time. I feel like these are so much fun. I was worried because they were bright, the blue, the red, the green, that really intense black, that it was going to be too much for me, because I tend to like kind of sheer, neutral, comfortable shades. These are fun. They just kind of like woke me up out of a makeup kind of rut. I'm excited to continue using these. Now, I will tell you that I really like Viseart eyeshadows. I think the formula is great. I expect these to wear well, but I can't tell you if they wear all day or if I have problems, because I just tried 4 of them on right in a row. But I will get back to you and let you know which ones I tend to gravitate towards, if there's one that I use more than others, if there is one where I have a problem with one of the shades, I will let you know. I would love to know if you have any Viseart palettes in your collection, or is it a brand that you have been kind of like, I don't know, should I do it? And I feel like if you haven't done it yet, one of these little mini palettes is a great way to start. If these more bold color stories give you a moment of pause, think about trying one of their small 4-pan palettes. They have more neutral everyday shades in their original release from last fall. But these guys here, if you love a blue, a green, a cranberry, or even those golds with that black, I am super inspired by all of these color stories, and I'm gonna be wearing them nonstop for the next several weeks. I just feel like these are gonna be front and center on my table, and they're gonna make me happy every time I open one. It's like opening up like a little gift. Let me know what your thoughts are on Viseart, and if you have any favorite palettes, let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching today. Have an incredible day, and I will see you again soon. Bye.